Chad Daniels is at Helium Comedy Club all weekend long.
What kind of segue was that?
The best in the business. Chad, good to see you, sir. We're excited to have you here in St. Louis at Helium.
Excited to be called an autumn bear.
We got a mic issue. We work on that. We can always just give him a headset too. We'll work on that. So Chad Daniels is here live at Southtown Pub with us. We're on remote this morning for St. Louis Live. Want to give that a test, Gardner? Oh, we've got sound. Look out. So you're excited to be an autumn bear.
Check.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you are. Well,
who wouldn't be?
Yeah. See, this is how you do it, Travis. This is what happens. So Chad, you're in town. You're highly regarded. We know you from Conan, several other festivals over the last 10+ years.
Sure.
You've been featured on those. How's the road treating you these days, sir? I'd like to start with a very general, very unique question.
Yeah, the general unique. Interesting.
Yeah.
Autumn bear. The road's great.
Yeah,
the road's great. I always like coming back to St. Louis, and it's fun. It's a fun city.
It is.
Lots of stuff to do.
Wait, now hold on. With the way you said "fun city," you paused for a second. What happened last time you were in St. Louis? Something had to have happened because you said,
No.
What's her name?
I know. Yeah.
Fun city.
The reason I did that is because I worry when I'm on radio that I'm going to curse. So I'm constantly have that 7-second ahead of myself.
You're a good man, Chad Daniels.
And I did, anytime the hits my lips, I go, fun, it's fun. That's what I was saying.
It's tough for us, too. We do a lot of podcasting and stuff like that, and we'll just let it fly. And then you want to look at someone like yourself. If something does slip, you're an adult. You should be able to say that, but we still have to deal with that crap on the radio.
Well, yeah, I understand that, and I raised some kids, so I know how to not curse.
Yes.
But that's what I'd say to them, too. I go, guys, we're going to go out, and this is a really fun restaurant. So that's exactly how it would work with them, too. So nothing personal, St. Louis. It's a very fun city. No pause. No pause. These paws on this autumn bear. That's right.
He's already calling back. This is what I love about him. No, Chad, I was just in California, and I had Canadian Thanksgiving with the great Ian Bagg.
Yes.
And you are tops on his list. He doesn't say many nice things, and he said, great guy, very funny.
Well, holy crap, that's very nice. My name's Ian Bagg. Hey, everybody, we're going to go down and... Yeah, that guy's something else, man.
He is, but no, it's nice to have that, and I've heard other great things about you from people we respect as well. It's good to kind of have that the backing of a very fragile group of people who don't always endorse everyone, right?
It's always nice in the comedy community when people are like, this guy he's a great friend. Hold on, I got to take my meds. And you're like, all right, I get it.
Is it so? Not to go Wikipedia on you, but you're from Minnesota. You've got a family.
Yep.
Is it strange dealing with some of the things you deal with, and applying those to real life? Like, I think in the comedy world, there's things that people make huge deals out of or care about. That it's like this isn't.
Oh, it's
real
not
life.
A problem,
right? Yeah. I mean, I see that too with some folks from other areas, or that get kind of caught up in a scene, and you're just like, I think we'll get past it. If you've ever been hit in the face with an object before, like, most things in life aren't that big of a deal, right?
Right. I tell a lot of comedians to have a baby. Because I'm like, oh, man, 4 months ago, the Thursday show, and you're like, just have a baby, man.
Right.
You'll be fine.
Nothing but looking
I
forward.
couldn't imagine going back to New York or L.A. and living in a small apartment and you have a rough week on the road, and then you go back and you live all by yourself, and all you do is stew in that. I mean, I get back, and it is like, my phone's broken, skating got canceled, the soccer match, I was too cold. I don't have even time to worry about the Thursday show.
Right. Exactly.
I get home.
There's real-world problems.
Yeah, I want to tell the crowds, like, I will worry about this till my flight. But once the flight hits, I got to start planning for real life, man.
Does your material or the way you attack it on stage, does that change once kids come into your life? As your kids get older, the more of a family man you become, does that change the way you present your comedy?
I don't think it changed the way I present my comedy because I've always had the same crummy attitude. Right. You see how I paused again?
I knew exactly what he was going to say.
The same
we're having a
crummy attitude?
Crummy, yes. Crummy is
what
the
am
word.
I, 90? Hey, you crummy kids, get off my...
Well, you can see all these great pauses at Helium Comedy Club all weekend
Yes,
long. I
no, I
hope
won't
someone,
pause. I won't pause.
No pausing?
No
You just
pause.
right
Yeah, we'll get right into it.
Absolutely. So,
but I talk about my kids a ton.
Right.
Because it is what I know. When I'm on the road, I'm on the road. When I'm home, I'm being a dad. So I don't have, I don't have all those bar stories that a lot of people have because I'm doing homework or helping with homework.
helping, yeah, in case any of the
I love
are
to say
listening.
helping. What I'm doing is Googling what they've asked me on my phone without them seeing it so I can seem smarter.
That illusion has to be such a big part of being a good parent, right?
I think so. So I got divorced, I don't know, how many ever years ago.
Let's talk about that for the next 20 minutes.
Sure, absolutely. but once I did that, I tried to be as transparent as possible with my kids.
Interesting.
So I was, yeah. I think everybody that's married would admit this a little bit, that you have to pretend when you're married. You have to pretend certain times in your life. You have to pretend. Like, want to go to church? Of course, right? You have to pretend stuff. So once I got out of the marriage, or that sounds horrible.
He opted out. It's like he was Jason Hayward going for a bigger contract.
Once I was a free agent, I just decided, transparency is the way to go. I sleep better, don't have secrets.
That helps.
Haven't lied since February 26th, 2016.
That's
2016.
impressive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it makes for some awkward conversations, especially in comedy. People get off. What'd you think of my set? Oh boy.
Yes.
Here we go.
Let's test him real quick. How was the show last night at Helium?
I thought it was fun. I do one bit about talking to my kid about some pretty serious stuff that could be considered part of the Me Too movement, and people clam up. And I understand that. It's an uncomfortable situation, especially if you're on a date. And maybe both people want to laugh and be like, oh, my God, that's a great idea, but you don't really know. You have to feel them out a little bit before you laugh at that stuff.
Yeah.
So I understand it, but I'll yell at you if you're going to sit there and stare at me.
That's
so
fair.
I did yell at them last night.
When those type of things, like these cultural moments happen, especially like in such a tight-knit community, like the comedy community can be, do people go back and reassess the things they have written? Do they go back and readjust their material? I know it feels like we're such in a sensitive time, but that's kind of when comedians thrive. So has that altered the way you have written things or how you say things? Or are you just like, hey, this is how I've been. This is what I think is funny. I'm putting it out there. If you like it, you'll laugh. If you don't, you won't.
I mean, I think you need to be careful about putting your name on something that's going to be recorded or whatever else.
Of course.
This is Mad Raniels on the show this morning. He's got to feel this out first. Like, what are these idiots going to talk about?
I don't think so. I mean, I kind of go for it. And
Right.
Again, so the Me Too thing and the Kavanaugh thing and the presidential, I always put it through the filter of my kids of being a dad. Because it's like, here's how it's affecting me.
Right.
Listen, whatever's happening across the country, I can't. I feel like that's what everybody does. They attack this huge problem when they don't know their neighbor's name, and it's like, maybe act locally first before you don't sleep for 10 days over something happening in California. Oh, there's straws in the water. These sea turtles can't open their eyes underwater and swim around a straw?
Cheryl, you haven't spoke to your mom in a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yes. That is such a great way to look at it too. And it's you're not being rude or anything. You're speaking fact to someone who's disjointed from reality.
Do you know what's going on in India? Do you know what's going on in our basement? Let's start in our basement and work our way to India.
Yes, it's perfect. Storm drains, get them done first. We've got Chad Daniels here on the show. We're live at Southtown Pub. You can see Chad all weekend at Helium Comedy Club. Very excited to have him in town. As far as where do you reside? Are you in Minnesota?
3 hours north of Minneapolis.
That's why. So that's why you're so friendly and nice, right?
Oh, I don't know about that. See,
the Minnesota nice thing.
They
right?
say Minnesota nice, but here's Minnesota nice, right? You're outside in the yard. Oh, well, your dog is looking so nice there, and oh, come give me a hug. It's so great to see you. Isn't that great? And then they shut the door in their house, and they're like, well, that that guy got a divorce, and that's not going great for him. I mean, it really is ridiculous.
Yeah. That's fair. You can get that here, too. I think about that, like, just because whenever you go to a bigger city and someone doesn't say thank you or look you in the eye and say, hello, how are you? That doesn't mean that St. Louis is awesome because we do that, right? There's a lot of issues once you scratch the surface just a little bit always.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice when people say hello and whatever else, but again, this new transparency thing that I'm doing is
right.
It's great.
I look forward to your review of your time on the show this morning because I think that's going to be slightly negative, and I think we need some of that, Travis.
No, you're a Minnesota guy, so obviously you're incredibly nice and play hockey. So
I did. I got a new hip January 10th.
Good for you.
Really?
Brand new hip on my right side.
Oh, my sweet.
So how's it working out?
It's great. It's so much better.
It's like a super quick recovery time if we want to do some hot hip talk.
Yeah.
It is actually really interesting how fast that is now when it used to be, well, here's a walker. Good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I wouldn't have been able to sit on this chair this long.
Was it an old hockey injury? Was it something?
No, I think it was overuse and then genetics.
Interesting.
So when the guy took my femoral head off, we talk about this?
Yeah.
Okay, so what they do is they cut off the femoral head and they pound in what is essentially a wine stop.
Have you ever seen?
I have seen those videos. Oh,
yeah, so it's basically they put a wine stop into your femur that has a new a metal femoral
They
head
have
on
to
it.
sub in John Henry to get in there.
Oh, I know. It's
Knock those in.
insane.
Like, how do they not have something automated that can, just forcefully one strike in there?
Right.
It's a doctor
yeah,
hammer.
it's a hammer. And it's also like, are you sure this is perfect? Because if it's off a little bit, my leg's going to be crooked. So you're just letting it rip? And then we're just going to turn it a little once it's in there? Once it's in the bone marrow, we're going to give it a little twist?
Is that play any sports, Doc? I need to see your capabilities. So it was a hell of an experience then, I'm sure.
It was, yeah, because my knee hurt so badly, and I thought it was because it was off a little bit.
Right.
When I was going upstairs, I couldn't even go upstairs with my knee. My hip was fine.
And it was your hip that was causing it? Or?
Yeah, but, it was so for 4 years, I had kind of a crooked gait. I would walk weird
You're a horse,
to lessen the pain. Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
So to lessen the pain, and I had to relearn how to walk.
That's crazy.
I'm laughing because that's just insane.
You're laughing because you're an SOB, man. He was in pain.
I'm laughing because this is on my horizon as I sit at 34 staring this problem.
So this
wow,
is what
you're
I'm
a real fun guy.
I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if they can fix all of my crap, too.
They can.
So recovery time was what, like 8 weeks?
So I did a show 2.5 weeks after, and I walked out, but I had a cane with me. But, there's been some ups and downs. You got to really stay on rehab.
Yeah.
And then they have a thing, it's called the capsule. It's a ligament that goes from your pelvis to your femoral head that they have to snip.
Oh, boy.
It takes a full year to grow back and be strong.
Oh, boy.
I'm telling you, I remember the first time I was on stage, somebody from the crowd said something that made me laugh. And before, I would have just tilted at the waist a little bit. And I straight squatted all the way down.
Oh, that didn't feel so good.
Laughing at it. And I was just like, Daddy's got a new hip. Just like, said something that gross. You wish you could take back. Like, Daddy's got a new hip. And I was like, Daddy? Check.
4 tables up front are like,
Can we get any of the other comedians back on stage that don't say Daddy's got a new hip? Yeah.
I would say that. If I had a new hip, hey, Daddy got a new hip. What you trying to do? I would have exactly
Sir,
what I
please
would have
pay
done.
for your gas.
Oh, okay. All right. Here you go.
Daddy's got a new hip sounds like an old man is trying to pick up a young woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's just slime covered. So gross.
Hey, baby guy, Daddy got a new hip, huh?
Do you know how to get to the ice cream shop? Well, Daddy can tell you.
Because I got a new hip. Did I tell you that?
You there.
It's walking there.
Yuck.
So, oh my gosh, Chad Daniels here. So we're going to go do sprints after this outside just to show off the capabilities, right?
I can't sprint yet.
Yeah, me either. So,
I've,
and I haven't.
And
had
you
a hip
haven't had a hip
replacement,
surgery.
Yeah.
I've been running on a treadmill like a minute on, a minute off, and I can do elliptical and swim and anything else, jumping rope, all that stuff. But the running is I think it's in my head.
You think so? Right? Because too many complications that could go wrong, right?
Well, I just won, really. Like, my leg gives out once, and all of a sudden I'm sliding across the pavement on my forehead.
Right. I've sprained my ankle no fewer than 50 times in my life. So you start, like, eyeing your surfaces that you're walking on and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
It's a terrible way to live, so I'm glad you're doing better for yourself.
Well, I got to tell you this. So I sprained my ankle horribly. So it was the first... this just caught my eye. I used to have this exact same in my dining room.
Oh, nice.
The light fixture. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then I took this out, and I decided it was project day, and I put in my new one, and I'm standing on my table with a step ladder, and I have because I have to prop up the new light because I can't hold it and do the wiring.
Right.
And then I get it all assembled, and I'm going through the instructions to make sure I did it right, and then there's a whole page on the ground wire. And I was like, well,
oh, God.
One of my kids is out at school, so hopefully this doesn't burn the house down. I happen to know my fire alarms work because what they've done is decided to go out every 3 days, the battery.
Oh,
I don't know if they put in the battery every 3 days because
Yeah.
it is a different one that makes them all go off.
Right.
And I don't know how to deal with it. It'll be 2 a.m. Beep, beep, beep. It's insane. All right, what was I talking? Do you remember what I was talking about?
You were going to go with, we were talking hips. We talked literally the light fixture.
Yeah, that was a big squirrel moment.
Like, sprained an ankle.
Oh, so I sprained my ankle, and it was the night before I had to drive to my first headlining gig of a club, and I was very physical, like boy bandy physical back in those days.
Jeez.
And I had to sit on a stool. I had to sit on a stool, and I had to remember, try to do go through all these bits that were physical while sitting on a stool.
And it's your first time headlining.
Yeah.
So you're over.
I'm already scraping for bits.
Yeah.
And so I remember thinking, maybe you should write some jokes that are smart enough to get laughs without dancing.
Right.
Change your entire career.
Yeah.
Everything being an ode to Chris Farley.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this thing lasted. I had a black and blue ankle where when I got up to pee in the middle of the night, I'd have to put my foot up on the back of the toilet so it wouldn't throb.
Oh, good God,
Yeah,
man.
I had to put it. So I went to 8 different emergency rooms all over the country, Houston, Denver, all over the place, and they couldn't figure out what it was. I had all these tests done, and then in Minnesota, I went into this sports doctor or whatever, and he couldn't figure it out. And then the guy came in to change the waste paper basket where I was. And he goes, oh, frostbite, huh? I've had that.
What?
And I go, what? And he goes, well, yeah, I can definitely tell you have frostbite. And then I thought back to, it was also the same night that we went to war for the first time, dropped the first bombs after 9/11.
Right.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And so, for the first time. I know that wasn't the first time. I'm a little older than you think. And I fell asleep with ice on my foot. Ice on my ankle.
And that did it?
And so doctors all around the country couldn't figure this out. And some dude comes in to change the waste paper basket, and he goes, yeah, it happened to me when I was ice fishing. I'm like, oh, my God.
American healthcare.
Minnesota
wisdom.
Shouldn't I be able to get all that money back?
Yeah.
Give it to this guy? I don't want it. I want to take all the money that was paid to these hospitals for their stupid blood clot tests.
Yeah.
And I want to give it to this guy.
Do you know how much ice fishing he could do with that money?
So much.
So much.
I'm gonna go ahead and say all of it.
Maybe even a case of beer.
That is so freaky that you could have lost your foot if it was for the guy changing the dumpster.
Well, it's like if you didn't live in Minnesota, if that happened in Missouri, there's no one here that would go ice fishing.
There wouldn't be some wise janitor.
Yeah. Oh, I've been noodling before.
Catfish got you.
The guy Matt Damon, he just that's frostbite. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's so random.
We do. This is a great script idea, right? Wise janitor helps out the comic on the road. I think we've got do we go buddy movie or do we do a little more whimsical? What do we do with this script? There's a lot we can go with.
I think we go buddy movie. They become friends. Mm-hmm. They end up going to all these ice fishing tournaments, mm-hmm. and they both end up dying of frostbite.
Coen Brothers.
Big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
A big storm hits this tournament, And it's to raise money for one of their friends that's passed away, and then everyone dies.
Sentimental, very deep.
Right.
Great ending.
Got dark quickly.
Javier Bardem walks out at the very end across the frozen lake. So Chad, again, is at Helium Comedy Club tonight, tomorrow. Go see him. Highly recommend it. I know Ryan over here is excited. He's in town. A lot of smart people like Chad's comedy, so that means you all will too. Chad, if you have a couple minutes, we usually close out the show with a poll, and then we do some email reads. You got time to hang out?
POLL?
Yeah.
I'd love to.
You have to be careful.
Yeah, I'm not. Fool me once. You know what I mean?
I've been on that ice fishing trip before. I know how that works.
We've
been doing a thing called it's a Caucasian October, so it's Cocktoberfest, and we poll the audience. So CAUC again. You pause.
Sure, you
right
got to be careful.
Got to be careful.
Gardner, we had a poll. What are the results today for the morning melee?
The morning melee, traditional poll question of sorts to celebrate Cocktoberfest. We once again asked, of these four options, what do white people love most?
Okay, good question.
4%. Gym rats.
Gym rats, yeah. You get a lot of those in Minnesota, right?
Mm-hmm.
Show up early, stay late.
Especially in the winter.
Yeah.
You know,
I always loved that the first time in Minnesota, go to play basketball at the YMCA, and I was going to run there several pounds ago. They said, be sure you cover your mouth, your lungs will freeze. And I was like, that's funny. No, your lungs will freeze if you're outside running around.
You want to watch the best introduction in sports? It's watching Minnesota State High School hockey. When the kids skate out and they're introduced and they do these hair flips.
The best hair videos? Yeah, they're great.
They're
really?
It's they skate out, they stop, and then the hair flips.
You missed your calling.
That's where it's at for intros and sports.
Interesting.
Yeah, they'll say things like some kid will come and he'll just have been growing out his hair since 7th grade and he's a senior now, and he just shakes it and you can just see it just... I don't even know how to explain. It looks like when you wiggle Jell-O. It just does that. And then the guy will be like, well, this should be the flow on the Progressive commercials. He's got the worst jokes. But for everybody, it's great.
But that's so good, though.
Yeah, if you Google Minnesota State hockey hair, it's fantastic. You can watch every year.
Yeah, you'll go. There's a rabbit hole you'll end up going down.
I was going to say, I'm going to push my meetings back after the show and do this hockey.
I've been in that rabbit hole, so it's fun. So Gym Rats, 4%, 26% in PR.
Yeah.
National Public
Chad's
Radio.
big NPR guy.
Uh-huh.
And with 35% and 35%.
Whoa, a tie?
A tie again.
We have a tie between apple picking and Adam Sandler movies.
Okay. I think that's fair. Both delightful in their own sense.
And to update you, we had a three-way tie at the end of the show yesterday on our poll question.
We did.
That has since come to a conclusion, and we have some clarity there.
Whoever the four options again from yesterday's poll.
Yesterday was calling the police, Colorado, storm chasing, and the 1980s.
Okay, so what do white people love most?
Chad just looked. He was like, those are all just really great.
Those are quite delightful.
21%.
I miss the 80s.
21% for Colorado and storm chasing.
Okay.
25% for the 1980s. And 33% for calling the police.
I do it. That is a new pastime. Like, take that
There's
baseball.
a video going around that I haven't bothered listening to or anything. Is that a white woman trying to call
the cops
on a whale?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just on a whale watching boat.
Where were they?
And I could have identified a few people.
I think it might have been in Washington.
I think
State.
it was in Washington, and they were actually going to go whale watching, and one of the large whales came up against the boat. They're massive, of course, but the whales weren't doing anything. They weren't trying
Big
to
as a
capsize
whale,
the boat.
right?
They were indeed. Yeah. And so the woman, I guess, started to panic and decided to call the cops and let them know that these whales are doing whale things, and you need to let someone know.
Yes, ma'am. Are you in the ocean?
Are you calling?
You're the only number in my favorites. So...
Okay, glad we have some clarity on that.
Yeah.
So
hopefully next week we'll put out a bracket at some
Yeah,
point.
we're putting together a bracket of what white people love the most for our Cocktoberfest. And so, what's the leader in the clubhouse, you would think? What would be one of your one seeds?
I got to say New Balance shoes.
They love some million man.
I'm wearing New Balance currently.
I really like.
true.
I don't know. I really like running out a ground ball to shortstop.
Man, in this town, in this city, where you run out.
You hustle.
You run through first base.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're out by 12 feet, they're like, oh, look at, boy, the Cardinals got something here. He ran that all the way out. Look, we on our way.
I went to the Twins playoff game. This must have been 6-7 years ago, and the third game they were down 2.
Yep.
Third game was at Yankee Stadium, so we go there to watch. And they're getting beat by 7 runs. They're not running out ground balls, and I'm getting beer and mustard dumped on me.
Oh,
and I am
for having
furious.
Twins gear on?
Yeah, and I'm furious that these guys aren't running out ground balls. I'm furious about it because I'm in the stands taking.
You're taking your lumps.
Yeah, that's true.
So then that Hurricane Sandy went through New York and destroyed everything, and there was a semi that came through my town in northern Minnesota looking for, things that you could donate for them to sell for Hurricane Sandy relief. And I gave them my Twins hat still full of mustard. And I said, sell this.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I called the cops and ran away in my New Balance shoes.
Justin Morneau has never taken such a beating on Twitter after that day, right? Hey, Maurer, you think it's no hustle's okay in Minnesota? Not here, buddy. That's too bad. So, okay. Well, hey, we do fair or foul. We'll give away a hat from By Jack today. And what was our topic today?
The topic for fair or foul is Kanye West's iPhone passcode being 000000.
I think that's
as we learned yesterday in the Oval Office when he logged into his phone.
The Russian hackers had to have been loving that. Like, wait a minute, what? Mm-hmm. Oh, this is going to be gold.
So what we do is we give folks a topic, and then we get a few emails in. We pick the best one. We give them a prize.
Hey, man, you could at least say it with some reverence in your voice. You didn't have to say it like it's a chore.
Oh, well, we labor through it at the end of every show, unfortunately. So we've got an open that Chad can't hear, so we're going to hit that, and let's do some fair or foul.
At this defining moment, change has come to America.
People often ask me, what's fair or foul? Is it a segment? Is it a movement? Is it hope? I can't say for certain. Time will be a true test of its power. But I can say, fair or foul is now and forever for the people. Gather around the radio with your loved ones and hold on to your butts. It's now time for fair.
We give it back to you, the people.
Or foul.
Ha 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 ha. Let's get this party started.
That's right. We asked you about Kanye and passcodes. Let's get it going. Winner gets a new hat from By Jack. Foul. Now I have to change the code on all my luggage. That's the Triangle Assassin.
Callback.
Email again. That was good.
Spaceballs.
6 zeros. Very appropriate, seeing as how that's how I refer to Kris Jenner's kids. Fair.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a good look at that.
That was nice. That was from Yale Hollander.
Who was that?
Oh, smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
Fair. There are 2 explanations for that basic-ass code. Either Kanye was trying to send out a binary distress signal to the cameras.
Very possible.
Why is that? That's funny.
Because
Send help. I was like, I'm a nerd.
it makes sense.
It would.
I just pictured Dwight Schrute on The Office. It's saying, since I assume you can read binary computer, send out a binary distress signal to the cameras, or that is the only code Kim could remember.
Oh.
I like
the binary part. That was good.
Yeah,
That was good. That was from the Black Sheep. 0000 is a genius password. It's actually a formula. Number of white guys Kim has dated, plus number of black guys she hasn't, plus number of meds Kanye has taken, plus number of VMAs Taylor Swift should have, plus his favorite Smashing Pumpkins song.
That's pretty good.
Jamie Moyer's Fancy Foyer on the call. How do you weave in Smashing Pumpkins with that?
I don't know why Smashing Pumpkins had to be collateral damage there. They didn't do anything to anybody, but okay.
That was Jamie Croc?
That was Jamie Moyer's Fancy
Jamie Moyer's
Foyer.
Fancy Foyer.
Fair, and this is the last one. In addition to Trav's I can't read this. Fair. In addition, Trav's Cricket mobile phone's passcode is Cheat-O with an E on the end because, well, we all know. Watch out that hawk this week. Watch out for that hawk this weekend,
it's
everybody.
It's going to get cold, man.
TT's pink eye. Are you familiar with the term the hawk?
The hawk. Well, it depends. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of.
In regards to the weather.
No.
I didn't know it either. Apparently,
Chicago
it's very
terminology.
Mm-hmm.
When the wind comes off Lake Michigan, it's called the hawk because it's like so sharp and cold and
lands right on your shoulders.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
No, I'd never heard that.
Yeah.
before.
Well, you learned something today, Chad.
I'll forget it.
Those are the submissions for Fair or Foul today. Who are we voting for? Chris Gardner.
Jamie Moyer's Fancy Foyer.
He had us laugh, and Travis Farrell.
+1. I will go with that as well.
Did one pique your fancy, Mr.
That's
Daniels?
the binary one?
Yeah. Oh, no, that was
Fancy Foyer was the Smashing Pumpkins.
Smashing Pumpkins, yeah.
Oh, man, that was real good. But I'm just going to give a little love. I think he's going to run away with it. So I'm going to give a little love to that 6 zeros.
To the six, the binary one. I'm gonna throw a salute to the binary joke, but we're gonna to Yale Hollander. But we are gonna go with Jamie Moyer's Fancy Foyer as the winner. Congratulations to you, sir. You won an STL. AF, St. Louis Air Force is what that stands for, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Jack is the maker of that. Again, guys, Melissa Kaiser, Cornerstone Mortgage, is a sponsor here. Be sure to support her, along with all the other great sponsors like Logboat, Urban Chestnut, Second Shift Brewing. Good times today here at Southtown Pub. Be sure to catch us this weekend at Oktoberfest. And then after you come say hi to us, you're going to go to Helium Comedy Club and hang out with Chad Daniels.
Great, and that doesn't mean Air Force. It means as fun.
There it is. Can't end on a better note. Chad Daniels, very funny. Follow him on Twitter. Check out everything he's got rocking. Go to Helium this weekend. That's most important. Our friend Ron Finger opening up for you as well.
Absolutely.
Very nice guy.
If you need to listen before you go, you can. I have 4 albums on Pandora. You can check those out.
Nice.
I know that's not nice to say on radio, but that's
No, please.
Quite
Yeah.
all right.
Anything else we need to look out for?
Nope, that's it. I'm just saying. If you know, sometimes people want to listen before they go, and you won't hear anything I'll say tonight. So
that's so good, so good. Chad, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me on. I
Delight.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.